Hello, everyone. Hopefully, you can hear me. Yep, there's my mic. So I am going to move thing because I didn't realize it was in the way here. So I want to move. Let me see here. Oh, I have one viewer. Hello. So I guess I'll just leave it up for right now. All right, so let me angle it. So sometimes I teach on Out School and I teach my daughter's numbers. So that's why you see that in the background. Anyway, welcome to my live stream and welcome to Kwanzaa and Mindset. And today we are dealing with the first principle of Kwanzaa. But before we deal with the first principle of Kwanzaa, I want to talk about why and how this came about. So it came about students and the thoughts and why, and me coming in the schools primarily of African American students, and me coming in as an African American, sub. I didn't think I was going to really have a problem with the students. I figured it was going to be one of my typical days. And it's funny because it made me think about when I subbed at another school that was primarily white. And I thought I was going to have such a bad experience from, just thoughts, my own personal thoughts, as well as thoughts from others that I was going to have at that school. And it was totally different. And I realized why it was different. When they're setting a precedent, when we have a guest in the school, this is how we act, this is how we behave. And then I go, boy, they're just like overly nice. I wasn't even expecting them to be this nice. It was just overly nice. So I realized that one, they know what people say about them, and they want to change the narrative of that. And I was like, wow, that's great. So going back to the other school, I'm going, okay, well, most of these students aren't from here. They're from somewhere else. And it made me think, and as the more I thought about this, I was just thinking, like, why? Why was there such a difference? And the reason why there was such a difference is I realized at the other school, there's a sense of community. And I'm going at this school here, where the students are coming from, other places. There isn't quite a sense of community. And it made me think about the principles of Kwanzaa. And as I was celebrating the principles of Kwanzaa with my kids, it made me think about the fact that, yes, we celebrate Kwanzaa once a year. But when you get into the principles, these are principles that you can use throughout the year. Are you going to light the candles? No, because again, that's a once a year celebration. But can you keep the principles of Kwanzaa posted somewhere and have this as something that's guiding you, and not just guiding you, but guiding your mindset? It's a mindset, a place of belonging in a sense. So we're going to wait before we get into everything and see if we have some more people join us. So we're just going to wait 1 minute or longer. So some of what I would like to talk about, I'm going to demonstrate and just show you a chart. And I love how they broke it down. And I picked up this chart at the Charles H. Wright. For the last day of Kwanzaa, we were celebrating Imani, which is faith. And I just love how they broke it down. And when I saw the breakdown, I was just like, okay, yes, your thoughts are correct about using Kwanzaa principles with helping people start their mindset practice. And that's what we're really talking about at the beginning. There were some people, it was a while ago when I had a radio broadcast, internet radio broadcast. And I had a caller call in and said that we want to instill these principles and we want to, start thinking outside the box and doing these things. And they just didn't know where to start. And I said, maybe these principles can be a start for people. And wait to see if we have someone join us. And even if we don't, we'll just go ahead and get started. I love that I figured this out. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So I don't want to waste any time. So first thing I'm going to show you is the charts and how they broke this down. And I love it. So on one side, they have emotional maturity and intellectual maturity. So we know day one is Umoja, unity. And the reason why I talked about the story. But before we get into that, let's go into what does Kwanzaa mean. So Kwanzaa is a word that comes from Swahili. It means first fruits. It's a celebration of the bounty of the earth. Swahili is, no, we're not going over that, but we're just going to keep it with that, a bounty of the earth. And a lot of times it's celebrated for African Americans to remember that the whole of Africa was their ancestral land, not just one country in Africa. So let's go over that again. So Kwanzaa is a word that comes from Swahili. It means first fruits. It is a celebration of the bounty of the earth. Swahili is a language that is spoken all over Eastern and Central Africa. And when Dr. Karenga chose the language, he chose it because he wanted African Americans to remember that the whole of Africa was their ancestral land, not just one country in Africa. So let's just think about that. So that creates a sense of belonging, a sense of this is a place that we are connected to, and this is where we come from. Is also a part of you, is also a part of who you are. So that connection for African Americans and using these African principles for him to create this holiday in the language was to create a connection. And there was a reason for that connection. So now let's look up from this emotional maturity chart. So you have Umoja, which means unity. And then it's underneath that, it says family, kinship, belonging. Let's just think about that. Now, remember, I was in two different places and I didn't understand some behavioral things. You have some kids over here who are connected to a place, who know this is where we belong. Then you have over here, there's no connection. So let's go with mindset. If you don't feel connected to something, if you don't feel a sense of belonging, how are you going to act? How are you going to treat it? What is your mindset going to be? So I know if I don't feel connected to something, or if I don't feel a sense of belonging, I don't care. So you have on one side, we care, and we care what you think and what people say about us. You have on another side, we don't care what people think. We don't care what people say about us. And there's something that I've come to realize. There are some people who want to change a narrative, and there are some people who don't want to change a narrative. And again, my focus for 2020 is only on what can I do? Not on what can't I do. So we're going to only work on what we can do. And that's going to keep us on a path of what? If we focus on what we can do, which is one, instill these principles into our own households and into our own mindsets, it's going to create a more positive outlook. And if we stay on a positive outlook and putting out into the universe a positive sense of a positive energy, let's say a positive energy, there's no telling what we can create and what can happen from that positive energy. So you have a lot of negative energy out there. What we can do is create more positive energy. And one of the ways we can create more positive energy is by having a sense of unity. And if we create more unity within our households and within our families, maybe there's going to be unity and connectedness outside the house as well. So when me and my girls went over this and we were talking about unity, and again, we're just dealing with the principles, not the actual practices. When we were talking about unity, I went through on ways we can create unity as a family, and then unity with our community, where we live, and instilling pride in that. Because I wanted them to understand that it's just not unity within the household. It's just not unity within our schools. It's just not unity with ourselves. It's unity on the outside as well. So I want them to go, and they're young, so, lots of reminders. So what I want them to think of is outside themselves. And what a lot of these principles take, and a lot of changing mindset takes, is more evolved thinking. My thinking isn't so black and white. I don't think like a lot of other people. And a lot of that has to do with the books that I've read, the things that I do. And again, my mindset. My mindset is in a different place. My mindset is, I think about my own household, but it's also outside myself. And we'll get to that. That takes a lot of growth. So again, how can we create a sense of belonging, a sense of unity? We start within our households. We start with our books. We start with what principles are we doing? If you start maybe feeling a little disconnectedness, what you can always do, and again, if you don't know what to use, if you don't have certain things set up for your household, you can start with principle 1, unity. Hey, family, or hey, self. How have I created a sense of unity? These are questions we can ask ourselves. How have I created a sense of unity within my household? And better yet, how have I created a sense of unity with my community? That is, really what's important. So again, using that first principle, and that is what it means. Family, kinship, belonging. Now let's go with some other things. Once we create that unity, once we create that connectedness, and again, it's being connected. They may be more socially stable, accountable. Having a sense of accountability is extremely important. There's a lot of people running around with no accountability. For example, where I work, a place that I work, a lot of people don't feel that they're accountable to their job. I'm just going to say in general, for whatever reasons, you're not happy, you think you should be somewhere else. Well, that takes a sense of accountability. And the more you pour into something, the better it's going to be. And then let's talk about hospitable. These are what this unity, this connectedness creates. Social stability, accountable, hospitable, which means you're hospitable. If some people may not know what that means, is you're going to treat others nicely with, hey, welcome, make yourself comfortable. You're safe here. Respectful of others. We talked about respectful on one side and disrespectful on another side. Again, you have people who feel connected and are trying to change a narrative, and then you have people who don't feel connected and they're not trying to change a narrative. So with that comes disrespect, not hospitable. There's no social stability. But again, if we create that connectedness, if we create that unity, if we change that mindset to where, hey, this is our community, this is our family, this is the narrative that we want, you're going to create social stability, accountability, hospitable, and respectful of others. Awesome. So, and if you don't think that takes mindset work, I don't know what to tell you. So you can always begin that way. And I say, start with day 1, start with that first principle, unity. And first, it's going to be within the household. Hey, how can we create unity as a household? Maybe it's a non-tech night. A lot of people have those. I have those with my girls. For Christmas, during a Christmas break, they were with me and everything. And they wanted to, whenever my daughter says, like, can I get on the iPad? No, this is technology-free time. There is no tech during this time. This is family time. We read books. We're reading our Kwanzaa book. And I love this book that I have for kids. And we deal with just Kwanzaa and not no mindset in Kwanzaa. I'll delve more into that. I had them draw. I had them, we're making things. I said, no, this is our family time. This is our celebration time. And we continued that for 7 days. Okay. Now, when I went to work and they were at Nini's, it's whatever. But again, it starts at home. It starts with that person who, whoever's the primary parent. If there's one of you, two of you, they're going to follow your example. So that's it. So that is our day one, Kwanzaa and mindset, talking about Umoja, which is unity, and creating that connectedness. First, you need to feel connected. If you don't feel connected, everything else fails. And it's funny because, I realize when I'm thinking of something over and over again, I'm trying to find a solution. And when I saw this chart, I was just like, okay, yes, you can actually do this and use this. And I think I think it's easier for people to understand. It's simpler, easy to break down, and easy to do and follow. I think a lot of people stress about things and stress about doing things and thinking, oh my God, it takes so much work and so much energy. And it's like, you know what? Start simple. Start with one thing and do one thing each day. That's it. So peace, love, many blessings. Thank you for joining me. Join me tomorrow for day 2 of going through the 7 principles of Kwanzaa and relating them to mindset, how to change your mindset, and mindset training. Peace, love, and many blessings.